चातुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्म विभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्य कर्तारमव्ययम्। चातुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्म विभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्य कर्तारमव्ययम्। O Arjun, Brahman, Vaishya, Kshatriya and Sudra divisions have been designed as per their respective gunas, qualities and the karmas or actions that are being done by those divisions. They are manifested by me. Though they are manifested by me, but I am not the karta, the doer, as I am beyond them. Hey Arjun, know me as changeless, decayless and undoer. The one who does not do sadhana at all, he will have 100% doubt about the existence of God. He is in Sudra state of Kali Yuga, having dark and unmoved heart. When such a man starts Kriya Yoga sadhana, his outgoing Kundalini force will turn towards and touches Mooladhara chakra. 20% of his doubt will evaporate and his doubt will be reduced to 80%. He is still considered to be in Kali Yuga, but he will transform himself into Kshatriya, a warrior class ready to fight the internal force, and his is a propelled heart. If he continues his sadhana, then his awakened Kundalini touches Swadhisthana chakra. 20% of his doubt will further evaporate and his doubt will be reduced to 60%. He is considered to be in Dwapara Yuga. He will transform himself into Dvija. Here he starts realizing about doubting the existence of God, and hence he is said to be born again or twice born. Now with a steady heart, he will pursue sadhana. With a further continuance of sadhana, his awakened Kundalini touches Manipura chakra. 20% of his doubt will further evaporate and his doubt will be reduced to 40%. He is considered to be in Treta Yuga. He will transform himself into Vipra, eligible to study Vedas. The scripture, in fact, Veda means to hear. Hence he is eligible to hear the pranava sound Om. Now with the devotee having a dedicated heart, he will pursue sadhana. Now with a devoted dedicated heart, he will pursue sadhana. With the further continuance of sadhana, his awakened Kundalini touches Anahata chakra. 20% of his doubt will further evaporate. 20% of his doubt will further evaporate and his doubt will be reduced to 20% only. He is considered to be in Satya Yuga. He will transform himself into Brahmin who starts listening pranava sound Om. Now with a clear heart, he will pursue sadhana. With a clear and clean heart, he will pursue sadhana. The son of a prime minister need not be a prime minister. He can be a chaprasi also. The son of an eminent doctor need not be a doctor. He can be a peon. Colonel, brigadier, etc. are not names. They are designations. They have to be acquired with qualification, abilities and experience, etc. The caste is like a designation. It has to be acquired. So no one is a Brahmin by birth. namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spruhaha iti mam yobhijanati karma bhinna sabhajyate. Hey Arjun, actions will not touch me. I do not have any longing for karma. So who knows me like this will not be bound by karma. Every man is divided into 1 sattva, 2 sattva raja, 3 rajo tamas and 4 tamo. As per his deeds and actions, man does karma as per his guna, attributes of nature. The man who is anchored to Parabrahman is beyond karma. No karma nor caste can bound him. Evam gnatva krutam karma purvairapi mumukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvaihi purvataram krutam. I am not the real doer. Hey Arjun, I am not the real doer. I should not have any interest in the results of karma. Knowing this from the way of God in respect of karma theory, several liberated minded sadhak have done the nishkama karma in the past. King karma kimakarmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha tate karma pravakshami yagnatva mokshase subhat. What is karma? What is karma? What is akarma? Even the learned people are unaware of it properly. I am rendering you now the knowledge of the one that liberates you. In spite of doing some sadhana, if the sadhak leaves his sadhana and comes out and entangled with senses more than the requirement, then he will entertain the same doubt, what is dharma and what is adharma. The actions that are done only for ego satisfaction are adharma, karma. And those karmas that are done only for Parabrahman with dedication and without any selfish motive are called dharma karmas. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi. The awareness of the karmas as ordained, not ordained by scriptures, and the karmas of inactions are to be fully known. The awareness of the karmas that are ordained and that are not ordained by scriptures and the karmas of inactions are to be fully known. The truthfulness of the knowledge of the karma is very deep and quite difficult. Yogic meaning, Parabrahman expresses himself in the nature in many different ways. Parabrahman expresses himself in the nature in many different ways. The things in nature sometimes give us satisfaction and sometimes give us dissatisfaction. They perturb us in many a number of ways. The karmas that motivate our consciousness to awaken our Kundalini force are dharma bound, and those that make the man slave to senses and those that make the man slave to senses are adharma bound. We should eat to live, but not vice versa. The karmas that harm us physically, mentally and spiritually are not to be done. They are the adharma karmas. Smoking, drinking, meat eating and lust for sex, etc. are illustrated as adharma karmas. कर्मण्य कर्मयः पश्येद कर्मणि च कर्तयः स बुद्धिमान् मनुष्येषु स युक्तः कृष्ण कर्मकृत्. He who sees karma in akarma and vice versa is the most intelligent meditator and the follower of good actions amongst people. He who sees karma in akarma and akarma in karma is the most intelligent meditator and the follower of good actions amongst people. Life itself is a drama. Playing this drama with indifference only for the sake of Parabrahman is termed as seeing action in action. Playing this drama with indifference only for the sake of Parabrahman is termed as seeking action in action, in inaction. Preaching Kriya Yoga with renewed interest to the aspiring devotees for the sake of Paramatma is termed as seeing inaction in action. Is termed as seeing inaction in action. Now, 19th verse. Yasya sarve karma samarambhaha kama sankalpita varjitaha gnanagni jagdha karmanam tamahu panditam buddhaha. यस्य सर्वे समारंभाः काम संकल्पित वर्जिताः ज्ञानाग्नि दग्ध कर्माणां तमाहुः पंडितं बुधाः. The actions of the sadhak whose actions are lacking desires for fruit and are burnt by wisdom, that sadhak is learned one. Tyakva karma phala sangam नित्यतृप्तो निराश्रयः कर्मण्यभिप्रवृत्तोऽपि नैव किंचित् करोति सः. Now, by Arjun, he who is devoid of fruits of karmas dwells in incessant contentment. He will not be considered as a doer of modicum of karma in spite of doing. He will be considered as a doer of modicum of karma in spite of doing. Nirasiryata chittatma chakta sarva parigraha chariram kevalam karma kurvan apnoti kilbisham. He who is desireless, having controlled senses, not wanting anything, is untouched by karmas in spite of doing karmas with the body. He will not be tangible by sin. Yadrucha labha santusto dvandvatito vimatsaraha samaha siddhavasiddhaucha krutvapina nibajjati. He who is contented with whatever he got inadvertently, got it inadvertently, discarder of dualities like happiness and misery, not having jealousy, having equanimity in getting and not getting, the fruitfulness and unfruitfulness of the things cannot be bound by karma in spite of doing karmas. The sadhak should overcome the dualities like happiness and misery and cold and heat with patience and endurance. Gata sangasya muktasya gnanavastita chetasah yajnaya charata karma samagram praviliyate. Not having interest in anything other than the God, freed from attraction and repulsion, desire and anger, always anchored to God, doing karma for the sake of God and for the welfare of fellow beings. His whole karma is destroyed. and not creating any bondage of birth and death cycle. The physical thing only that give us ahutis in a fire ceremony. With physical, we are giving only the physical things only. We are giving as ahutis in a fire ceremony. Shall not cause salvation to man. The ahutis we submit in a fire ceremony are replica of senses and their objects. We must sincerely feel that we are dedicating things to fire is a prerequisite, failing which it is a waste. This common sense is essential. See, we are giving so many physical things in the fire ceremonies. The ahutis, they are called as ahutis. Those ahutis we submit to fire ceremony are replica of our senses and sense objects. We must sincerely feel that we are dedicating these things to fire. This is a prerequisite, failing which it is a waste. So this common sense is essential. You see, in a fire ceremony now what we do? We offer number one flowers. They represent the skin, sparsha shakti, touch. We give as ahutis colors. The colors means they represent eyes, seeing power, drishya shakti or results. Colors, they represent eyes, seeing power, drishya shakti and results. Number three, we offer cow ghee also, clarified butter. It represents tongue, taste power and our ruchi shakti. Number four, we offer as ahutis fragrant things like incense sticks. They represent nose, smelling power. Number five, we blow conch shells also. Blowing a conch shells represents ear, hearing power, shabda shakti. These things are submitted as a token of dedication for the purification of senses and the king of senses, mind. Liberation is possible only with a pure mind. The cow ghee is poured into the fire, sacrifice, as a token of the unification of pure mind with cosmic consciousness. The unification of pure mind with consciousness, the cow ghee represents. Flowers are submitted as a symbol of withdrawing life force from the senses, and the withdrawn life force is submitted to the seven chakras and from there to Parabrahman. Brahmarpanam Brahmakhavi Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmaeva tena gantavyam Brahma karma samadhina. The instruments that are required for fire service, the things that are to be put into fire yajna, the fire, the one who does the fire yajna, the oblation itself are the forms of Parabrahman only. With this one and only one feeling, sadhak should do the yajna. Then he will attain Parabrahman itself. Daivameva pare yagnam yogina paryupasate Brahmagna pare yagnam yajnenaivopajuhvati. Some yogis are following yajnas of worshipping the devas or deities. Some yogis are following yajnas of worshipping the devas or deities. Some are offering self as a sacrifice made by the self in the fire of spirit. This sadhak, his sadhana and his object of sadhana All are the forms of Parabrahman only. The sadhak, the sadhana, and is object of sadhana. Dhyata, dhyanam, dhyayam, in Sanskrit they call it, are the forms of Parabrahman only. With this feeling, the sadhak is getting samadhi, the ecstatic union with Parabrahman. If the sadhak is healthy, then only he can do sadhana. If the sadhak is healthy, then only he can do sadhana. So for health, he should worship Vishwa in micro physical, Virat in macro physical worlds. For vigorous life force, he should pray for vigorous life force. He should pray Tejas in micro astral and Hiranyagarbha in macro astral worlds. For going within and pure wisdom, for going within and for pure wisdom, for gaining pure wisdom, he should pray Prajna in micro level, that is micro idea, in micro idea, and Ishvara in macro idea worlds. To come out of Maya, the sadhak should worship Om, that is Mahaprakriti. The prayer should be, O Divine Mother, make me united with Parabrahman and show me the truth. To obtain the God in creation, that is Kutastha Chaitanya, pray like this: O Sri Krishna consciousness, manifest in my Samadhi meditation. To get united with cosmic consciousness, pray like this: O cosmic consciousness, manifest, manifest. Srotraadinindriyanyanye sanyamagnisu juhvati Shabdadin Vishayananya Indriyagnishu Juhvati. Some are offering, O Arjun, some are offering senses in the fire of inner control, and some are offering the objects of the senses as oblations into fire of senses as oblations. Dharma, dhyana, dharana, dhyana and samadhi together are called samyama, which means with sense control. The sadhak should do intense sadhana with steady mind. There are 4 types of disciplines. They are: number 1, brahmacharya ashramam, celibacy, that is vidyardhi dasha, student life. Number 2, gruhastha ashramam, that is vivaha dasha, that is married life. Number 3, vanaprastha ashramam, that is sadhana dasha, that is secluded life, ekanta vasam. And 4, sannyasa ashramam. Sattu means the only truth, nyasam means the search for truth. So sannyasa means search for the only truth. Sarvani indriya karmani, sarvani indriya karmani, prana karmani cha pareye, atma sanyama yoga gnau, juhvati gnanadipite. Some are offering the objects of senses as oblations into the fire, exemplified by self-discipline. Dravya yajna stapo yajna yoga yajna stadha pare swadhyaya gnana yajnascha yatayas sansita vrataha. Some are offering money and food amongst the poor as oblations. Some are doing Patanjali's pranayama techniques of Ashtanga Yoga as yajna. They are all people of making efforts and self-discipline for union with God. Self-discipline for union with God. With the advancement of sadhana, the sadhak, that is the meditator, will initially hear the sound of Om. Then he will enter into Sri Krishna consciousness, the God in creation. Continuing his sadhana intensely, he will merge with Parabrahman. He himself will be a witness, the Sakshi Bhuta. The Sakshi Bhuta. Apane jufati pranam, prane panam tadha pare, pranapana gati rudhva, pranayama parayana. Some are obstructing the path prana and apana, the incoming and outgoing life forces. Then they will offer pranavayu in apanavayu and apanavayu in pranavayu as oblations. Prana means life force. Yama means controlling. Controlling life force is called pranayama. We step down the 24,000 volts electricity into 240 volts with cascaded step down transformers so as to be useful for us in India. We step down the 24,000 volts electricity in India. We step down the 24,000 volts electricity into 240 volts with cascaded step down transformers so as to be useful for us. River water is brought to us through huge water pipes. Then it will be made to pass through small pipes so that they will be useful to us. Likewise, the distorted cosmic consciousness is transformed into life force so that it will be useful for us in micro level. And the same life force, likewise, the distorted cosmic consciousness is transformed into life force so that it will be useful for us in micro level. And the same life force is spread in the whole universe in macro level. Remember that the same life force is spread in the whole world, that is in macro level it is spread, the same life force. This life force only is making this universe existent. This life force is called Para Prakriti. This life force is called Para Prakriti. This life force only is manifested in different ways in this universe as creatures, plants, birds, animals and mankind. The mechanical power that makes the lungs, heart, liver and kidneys etc. to function is this life force only. The soul in the body is the master and the life force is its servant. The commands of self are executed by life force through the medium of ego. Life force is intelligent but will not have any spiritual consciousness. Pure soul can survive without life force, but the life force cannot survive without the soul. Paramatma is one. Paramatma is one only. He became many. To become many is his dream. Ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. Paramatma is one. He became many. To become many is his dream. The movement of dream is done in the head of the man, while the rest of the body is not having any movement. The matter for the movement of dream is done in the head of man, while the rest of the body is not having any movement. The matter for all the things in the dream is supplied by the dreamer himself. When we dream, we dream only in head. The rest of the body will not move. That means the dream will not be, we will not have any dream on the shoulder or heart or somewhere. We will have dream only in the head. Headless body cannot dream. The matter for all these things in dream is supplied by the dreamer himself. Likewise, the supplier of matter for the dream of Paramatma is himself only. If the physical eye is opened, then the dream of man will not melt away. Will melt away. If the physical eye is opened, then the dream of man will melt away. But the dream of Paramatma will vanish if the third eye in the Kutastha is opened. The third eye in Kutastha, this should be opened. The dream of Paramatma is to be known. So, if the physical eye is open, then our dream will go. But the dream of Paramatma will vanish if the third eye in the Kutastha is opened with Kriya Yoga meditation by man. The life force is supplied to all the living beings in a required manner. The life force that is supplied to the man in a required manner and magnitude is called chief life force or Mukhya Prana Shakti. The life force that is supplied to the man in a required manner and magnitude is called chief life force or Mukhya Prana Shakti. This Mukhya Prana Shakti enters the embryo along with Jivatma or self. It will remain with that being till death pertinent to his karma. The Mukhya Prana Shakti enters the embryo along with Jivatma or self. It will remain with that being till death pertinent to his karma. Food will depend upon life force. Apart from this, the chief life force enters from the universe as a cosmic consciousness into cerebrum through medulla oblongata. From there, it will be distributed. From there, it will be distributed to the remaining chakras proportionately. Food will depend upon life force. Apart from this chief life force enters from the universe as a cosmic consciousness into cerebrum through medulla oblongata. From there, it will be distributed to the remaining chakras proportionately. Oxygen will have energy only. The life force will have both consciousness and energy. Oxygen will have energy only. The life force will have both consciousness and energy. Life force will be available. Life force will be available throughout the day. It will be doing different works in different organs or parts of the body, and hence it will have different names pertinent to its function. In the name of Prana Vayu, it does crystallization. Crystallization means manifestation of several functions. In the name of Apana Vayu, it does elimination. Elimination of all waste products. In the name of Samana Vayu, it does assimilation. Assimilation means digesting the food and then distributing the proteins required by different organs, and helps in production of new cells in place of dead cells. In the name of Udana Vayu, it does metabolizing. Hair growth, flesh and skin requires different cells for nourishment, and different equations will be happening for this. It does metabolizing, which the Udana Vayu. Hair growth, flesh and skin require different cells for nourishment, and different equations will be happening for this. This is called metabolizing. Prana and Apana are two important electricities in our body. Apana current will travel from Kutastha to anus through Agnya, Visuddha, Anahata, Manipura, Swadhisthana and Mooladhara via spinal cord, Merudanda, and from there it goes out through the anus. It goes out through the anus. This is not steady, and hence make the man slave to senses and sense objects. The Pranavayu travels from anus to Kutastha via Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Visuddha and Agnya chakras up to Kutastha. This is a peaceful This is very peaceful. Prana Vayu. It will unite self with Paramatma during sleep and yoga dhyana. This Prana Vayu will unite self with Paramatma during our sleep and yoga dhyana, that is yoga meditation. Apana pulls the consciousness of man to worldly things and prana pulls it towards Parabrahman. So one current pulls without and another current pulls within. For sadhana, going within is very essential. This is called, going within is called making the sadhak antarmukh. This makes the unison with Parabrahman and becomes easier. This will make the unison with Parabrahman easier. Making the consciousness inwards, that means if you become antarmukha, then the unison with Parabrahman becomes easier. Making the consciousness inwards to get united with God is called Kriya Yoga. Making the consciousness inwards to get united with God is called Kriya Yoga. When Mukhya Prana, chief prana, in the guise of Apana Vayu goes out of anus, energy will be spent for cells, tendons, for transmitting the message to the brain, and from the brain to the required organ, through the sensor and motor nerves, and for mental thinking, etc. In this process, several waste products will be left in the blood. Carbon dioxide is one such a waste product, CO2. That impure blood has to be cleansed immediately, failing which the physical death occurs. To restore the spent energy and rejuvenation, Mukhya Prana, that is chief prana, is required. With the pulse of prana and apana quite opposite in nature, in spinal cord the breathing process exists. When the life force goes up, it will carry life force consisting of prana vayu into the lungs, and there the carbon dioxide is removed. This is called breathing. To purify the liquid and solid things in the stomach, more time is required. That cleansed or purified energy is pumped into the cells. That cleansed and purified energy is pumped into the cells is this life force only. This purified life energy will be reinvigorating the chakras in spinal cords, kutastha and cerebrum. The residual energy from the breath is carried to all parts of the body by the blood. Then Pancha Pranas, 5 airs, shall be utilizing that life energy in a required fashion. The physical body consists of physical spinal cord, physical brain, and physical places for chakras. Subtle body has subtle spinal cord, subtle brain, and subtle locations for chakras and subtle nervous system. Subtle nerves are called Sukshma nadis. Nerve is a physical term which is tangible, and subtle, that is Sukshma nadi, are not tangible. One is Sparsaniya and another is Asparsaniya. Tangible means Sparsaniya. Intangible means Asparsaniya. You cannot touch it. The energy needed for Pancha Karmendriyas and Pancha Gnanendriyas of the physical body is supplied by subtle body. Subtle body supplies the required energy to Pancha Pranas through subtle nadis. The Sushumna's outer effulgence coverage of life trance, 7 chakras, the life trance of subtle nadis of Panchabhutas are controlled by subtle body. Sushumna's subtle nadi spreads from Mooladhara chakra to Sahasrara chakra adjacent to Brahmarandra of cerebrum here. The four rows of sympathetic nervous system existing on either side of the physical spinal cord resembles subtle spinal cord, that is Ida, Pingala and the Sushumna subtle nadis constitutes one row. Vajra inside Sushumna is second row. Chitra in Vajra nadi is third row of subtle nerves. The outer cover of Brahma nadi is the inside Chitri is the fourth row. This Brahma nadi is the spinal cord of Karana Sarira, idea body. 33 beads are there in physical spinal cord. They are for the protection of four rows of sympathetic nervous system. The outermost nerves consist of dura mater membrane filled with lymph. Inside these nerves, arachnoid membrane exists that protects the liquid that comes out from brain. Arachnoid membrane exists that protects the liquid that comes out from the brain. Inside this pia matter existing of white and grey matter, which itself is surrounded by vascular membrane. So, the outermost nerves consist of dura mater membrane filled with lymph. Inside these nerves, arachnoid membrane exists that protects the liquid that comes out from the brain. Inside these arachnoid membranes, pia matter exists that consists of white and grey matter, which itself is surrounded by vascular membrane. This consists of efferent and efferent nerves. This is the media by which the cerebrum, membranes, sense organs, action organs and other important organs are connected. There will be subtle canal in which there will be a subtle canal in white and grey matter. The physical eye consists of, now let us talk about eye. The physical eye consists of white, iris and a pupil. Behind that, in the subtle wisdom, natured third eye, there will be a golden ring in place of physical white. There will be blue ring inside golden ring. This blue ring represents iris. There will be 5-pointed silver star inside blue ring. This 5-pointed silver star represents pupil. The external hands to the sides, head and 2 feet in standing position of man represents the star. Head represents Akasha. This head represents Akasha. Head represents Akasha. These extended hands represents Vayu and Agni. 2 feet represent Jal and Prithvi. Apare niyataharaha प्राणान् प्राणेषु जुह्वति सर्वेऽप्येतो यज्ञविदो यज्ञक्षपितकल्मषाः सर्वेऽप्येते यज्ञविदो यज्ञक्षपितकल्मषाः. Hey Arjun, some sadhaks are controlling their food and offering different kinds of prana. Some sadhaks are controlling their food and offering different kinds of prana and their functions as oblations in the fire of the one common prana. They are all knowers of true free yajna of wisdom and are getting their karmic sins washed away. Divide the stomach into 4 parts. Keep 2 parts for solid food, 1 part for water, and the last and 4th part empty. This food that creates gas are to be given up. The foods that creates gas are to be given up. Yogis do pranayama with controlled food habits. Eating unpolished rice is better than wheat for diseases like blood pressure, arthritis and allergy. Eating unpolished rice is better than wheat for diseases like diseases like blood pressure, arthritis, and allergy. There are 72,000 subtle nadis existing in our body. Ida on left and Pingala on right and Sushumna subtle nadi in their center are very important. Effulgence is the outer cover of Sushumna subtle nadi. This will control the physical works of subtle life trance of the subtle body. Ida and Pingala will organize the sympathetic nervous system in physical body. Sushumna extends up to Sahasrara from Mooladhara. The Vajra in Sukshma Nadi extends up to Sahasrara from Swadhisthana. This will supply energy for contractions and refractions of subtle Nadi. This will supply energy for contractions and rarefactions of subtle body and for all the movements. Chitri Nadi in Vajra extends up to Sahasrara from Manipura. Chitri Nadi in Vajra extends up to Sahasrara from Manipura. This will coordinate the spiritual or consciousness related works of subtle body. The works of Sushumna, Vajra and Chitri Nadis are chiefly controlled by Sahasrara. Sahasrara is the brain of subtle nadi, subtle body, or Sahasrara is the brain of subtle body. The effulgent rays of this Sahasrara are supplying the energy required for Sahasrara and other 6 chakras. Physical brain, the physical locations of chakras, nerve centers, from there to nerves for their respective physical works get energy from Sahasrara only. Physical brain, physical locations of chakras, nerve centers, from there to nerves for their respective physical works, they get energy from Sahasrara only. Physical body is made up of flesh and blood. Subtle body is made up of life trance or pure gnana effulgence, pure wisdom effulgence. Idea body or Karana Sarira is filled with only consciousness or thought trance. Karana Sarira is a source for the existence of human consciousness. Karana Sarira has a brain of pure wisdom and a spinal cord, namely spiritual Brahmanadi. This will be enveloped in Chitri, subtle Nadi. Chitri is of only consciousness personified. Chitri is of only consciousness personified. Sthula Sarira, physical body, has physical chakra locations. Likewise, subtle body has a subtle chakra locations. Subtle body means Sukshma Sarira. Likewise, idea body or Karana Sarira has idea chakra locations. They are all mutually juxtaposed. Idea body has 7 idea chakras, physical chakra locations, physical brain, subtle chakras, subtle brain, idea chakras and idea brain work together. In nutshell, all physical, subtle and idea bodies work together as a whole unit. Physical and subtle bodies both are like tools and will cooperate with idea body in respect of recognition, desire and experience. The brain of idea body is reservoir of cosmic consciousness that is filled with eternal energy, eternal consciousness and eternal happiness. The manifestation of spirit or Parabrahma is Vyashtatma, individual soul. When cosmic consciousness is entering into idea body, chakras, then it will express itself as a pure wisdom in the idea cerebrum. Intuition in medulla, peace and tranquility in idea Visuddha chakra, as controller of life force and in idea anahata, self-controller in idea manipura, as a fortitude in idea swadhisthana, and as a power of resistance as well as epicenter of incessant thought in idea Mooladhara Chakra. Once again, the manifestation of spirit or Parabrahman is Vyashtatma, individual soul. Vyashtatma means individual soul. When cosmic consciousness is entering into the idea body chakras, then it will express itself as pure wisdom in the idea cerebrum and intuition in medulla, peace and tranquility in idea Visuddha chakra, as controller of life force in idea Anahat chakra, self-controller in idea Manipura, as fortitude in idea Swadhisthana, and as power of resistance as well as epicenter of incessant thought in idea Mooladhara chakra. Gopyam and Rahasyam are very important words in Sanskrit. Gopyam is equal to the concealed one. Gopyam means the concealed one. Rahasyam means Ra plus Hasyam. Rahita Hasyam, not to be laughed off. Sadhaka is not to be laughed off. Sadhana is not to be laughed off. It is a very serious business. Thoughts are not visible outwardly. They are invisible and concealed. Shavam, that means dead body, will not have any thoughts. Shavam, that is dead body, will not have any thoughts. Shivam, that is a living body, is auspicious one because it is having a life. Shivam has thoughts. Shivam means Mangala Swarupa, or living body has thoughts. Thoughts are the rays of consciousness. Kavita, poetry comes out of poetry comes out of Kavi, that is poet. In Sanskrit, Kavi means poet. So Kavita means poetry. So Kavita comes out of Kavi. Likewise, Gopika has come out of Guptam. As I told you, Gopyam means the concealed one. So Gopika comes out of Gopyam, Guptam or Gopyam. So all Gopikas are different thoughts. Gopyam and Guptam is one of the same thing. So all Gopikas, the Gopikas, they come out of Guptam or Gopyam. They are all different thoughts. So each thought, good or bad, is an embodiment of consciousness. Each thought, good or bad, is an embodiment of consciousness. Sarvam khalu idam brahma. The consciousness exists everywhere. It is all penetrating, all pervasive. Consciousness is all penetrating and all pervasive. Sun and sun rays are not two different things. Likewise, Sri Krishna Paramatma and Sri Krishna consciousness are not two different things. Sri Krishna Paramatma or Sri Krishna consciousness are not limited ones and tangible things, are not limited and not tangible things. So, asparsaniyam and aparimitam. Yogi will have only one thought, that is Paramatma thought. Yogi will have only one thought, that is Paramatma thought. Ordinary man will have several thoughts. Say for example 16,000 thoughts. Nobody can be able to give count one's own thoughts. So simply for example's sake they will say there are about 16,000 thoughts. Nobody can count the unlimited thoughts that are emanated out of the mind. Just for the sake of it, it was mentioned as 16,000 thoughts. In a huge gathering, one cannot count the number of people attended. They give the approximate numbers. Here is the same case in respect of 16,000 thoughts mentioned. 16,000 gopikas are in fact 16,000 thoughts. So there is cosmic consciousness, Sri Krishna Paramatma, Cosmic consciousness means Sri Krishna Paramatma. Behind each and every thought are Gopika. So this is the inner meaning of Sri Krishna is having 16,000 Gopikas. Yajna Sishtamrita Bhujo Yanti Brahma Sanatanam Nayam Lokostya Yagnasya Kutonya Kuru Sattama. The great amongst Kurus, who Arjun, those who take the residual food considered as a nectar after burnt offerings in Yajna shall get the eternal unity with Parabrahman. Those who do not do this type of Yajna, at least once, cannot have happiness in this world. Then what to talk about the happiness in other worlds? The real Yajna is pranayama. So by using pranayama techniques or the other, by using some pranayama technique or the other, one should control his life force. This life force is being transformed into 5 aids required by the body in a required magnitude, failing which the body becomes disease prone. Pranavayu protects decay of the body. Vyanavayu protects the body from anemia and low and high blood pressures. Samanavayu protects the body from weak digestion. The organs, muscles, tendons and membranes, etc. should not grow more than required. So Udanavayu protects this one. Apanavayu protects the body from the growth of toxins, gastric problems, tumors, the growth of cancer cells and piles problems. Apanavayu protects the body from the growth of toxins, gastric problems, tumors, the growth of cancer cells and piles problem. When the cosmic consciousness enters the idea body, it is transformed into idea consciousness. When this idea consciousness enters into subtle body, it is transformed into subtle consciousness. When this subtle consciousness enters into physical body, then the subtle consciousness is transformed into physical consciousness. When the subtle consciousness enters into physical body, then the subtle consciousness is transformed into physical consciousness. The spirituality of consciousness will be getting distorted due to these transformations. The physical consciousness is the lowest amongst all the consciousnesses, physical, subtle and idea consciousnesses. The pure wisdom is manifested as discriminating intelligence, buddhi. That buddhi is manifested as blind mind, the slave of senses. Lastly, that mind is manifested as inert, physical body, jada sharira. Evam bahuvida yajna vitata brahmano mukhe karmajan vidhitan sarvan evam gnatva vimokshate. This way, several yajnas are described in the Vedas abundantly. They are all born of karma and karma related. Know this. By knowing this way, O hey Arjun, you will be liberated. Shreyam dravyamaya yajna gnana yajna parantapa sarvam karma kilam partha gnane parisamapyate. Hey Arjun, the yajna of wisdom is superior to yajnas that are done with material things, because all karmas finally lead to wisdom and merge into it along with the fruits of karma. This wisdom cannot be destroyed. All these physical fire yajnas are meant for going within and will lead to pranayama karmas after all and transforms into pure wisdom and will lead to pranayama karmas after all and transforms into pure wisdom. So the Kriya Yoga sadhana, yajna, is the most superior one compared to these physical 5 yajnas. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Hey Arjun, obtain this wisdom from men of wisdom by prostrating before them, Sashtanga Namaskar, by prostrating before them and knowing from them, by questioning them with humility during their convenient time. Do faithful service to them, then they will definitely preach you. God will, yogic meaning, God will send a Sadguru to a sadhak who eagerly pray him for this one. Pray God for this. God will send the sadhak to a Sadguru to a sadhak who eagerly pray God for this. The sadhak may worship Sadguru in 3 ways with affection. Number 1, he can submit himself or surrender himself totally to Sadguru. He can submit himself or surrender himself totally to Sadguru. Number 2, he can remove his doubt by questioning the Sadguru with meaningful questions. Number 2, he can remove his doubt by questioning the Sadguru with meaningful questions. Number 3, by serving Guru with dedication, he may please Sadguru. Number 3, by serving Guru with dedication, he may please Sadguru. The sadhak should practice his sadhana regularly on daily basis and should behold his Sadguru in Kutastha with love and affection and then get rid of his doubts. Yajnatva na punarmoha yajnatva na punarmoha mevam yasyasi pandava yena bhutanyate chena draksyasyat manmadho mayi. Hey, O Arjun, by knowing which you will not get this sort of attachment again, by which you can see all the being in you and me, learn that from men of pure wisdom. O Arjun, by knowing which you will not get this sort of attachment again, by which you can see all the beings in you and me, learn that one from the men of pure wisdom. The one who has attained Brahmagnanam, pure wisdom, with the help of Sadguru, will never fall into the trap of Maya. Will never fall into the trap of Maya. Apichedasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakruttama. Apichedasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakruttama. Sarvam gnanaplavenaiva Vrujinam nantarishyasi. Even if you are a sinner of the sinner, yet by the sole raft of wisdom, you will safely cross the sea of sin. The consciousness of ordinary man is limited to Mooladhara to Manipura, Swadhisthana and Manipura chakras. That is, the consciousness of ordinary man is limited to Mooladhara, Swadhisthana and Manipura chakras. These chakras are called Samsara chakras or family confined chakras. These 3 chakras are called the span of Brahmagrandhi, in yoga parlance. His consciousness is confined to this Brahmagrandhi and hence subjugated to karma. Manipura, Anahata and Visuddha chakras are the span of Rudragrandhi. Till the Vichedana of Rudragrandhi in sadhana, that means till you cross this Rudragrandhi in sadhana, the sadhak is bound by karma. After crossing these 2 grandhis, the sadhak will grow beyond karma and will not be bound by it. Visuddha, Agnya and Sahasrara chakras are the span of Vishnu Grandhi. Visuddha, Agnya and Sahasrara chakras are the span of Vishnu Grandhi. After vichedan or crossing of this grandhi, the consciousness of sadhak will become settled in Sahasrara. That sadhak will merge with Parabrahman. Yadhaidhansi samidhogni bhasmasat kurute arjuna gnanagni sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute tadha. Hey Arjun, as enkindled flame, as enkindled flame will burn the firewood and make into ash, similarly the fire of wisdom burns all our karma into ashes. 4 types of karma and its results. Let us discuss. Purushakara, number 1. The karmas that are done in the present time influenced by willpower, Ichha Shakti. They are not done as per the influence of past karmas. These are independent of past karma. Number 2, Prarabdha karma. The karmas that are done in the present time influenced by past karmas. These are dependent of past karmas. They are done without utilizing the willpower provided by God, especially to the mankind. They are impediment to the growth of man physically and mentally. The karmas will give the results right from the onset of birth. Now and then, sometimes they will wait for the right time to yield the results. The karmas will give the results right from the onset of birth, now and then. Or sometimes they will wait for the right time to yield the result. Number 3, Pararabdha karma. The past karmas are not yet given the results in the present time. They will wait for the time to yield the results in this birth or next birth. Every new karma is formed as per the design of the past karmas. This way, the karmas will be getting repeated and will reflect as new or bad samskaras, habits in our lives. Our past, present and future lives are in a way dependent on the good and bad results of the karmas we do. Under the influence of Maya, delusion, man does not know about his past and the future. This Maya is also manifested in a righteous way by Parabrahman. This Maya is also manifested in a righteous way by Parabrahman. This righteous Maya is christened as Karma Bandham, bondage. So man should get rid of this bondage with sadhana. Number 4, Prahadara karma. What is the Prahadara karma? Yogi with his Kriya Yoga sadhana can burn these above 3 karmas, that is Purushakara, Prarabdha and Pararabdha. We can kill this king, we can burn this karma with the Kriya Yoga sadhana. There is no parallel. Now, nahi gnanena sadrusham pavitramih vidyate ye tat swayam yoga samsiddha kalenatmani vindati ye. There is no parallel to pure wisdom in this world. Such wisdom is obtained by degrees through yoga in this world, in him, by himself. Shraddhavan labhate gnanam tatparah sanyatendriyah gnanam labdva param shantim achire nadigacchati gnanam labdva param shantim achire nadigacchati. The one who is dedicated to his Guru, Sadguru and scripture, one-pointedness on spiritual sadhana. One-pointedness on spiritual sadhana. The one who made senses as his slaves is obtaining pure wisdom. Having got such wisdom, he is obtaining peace and tranquility soon. Man is addicted to trivial sense pleasures from the inception of birth. If he obtains the eternal beatitude before these sense pleasures, then he will not be having any longing for sense pleasures, small in comparison. Nobody will ask for a cold and untasteful food if fresh and tasteful food is available. Now, Agnescha Sraddhadhanascha Sansayatma Vinasyati Nayam Lokosti Naparo Nasukham Sasukham Sansayatmanaha Nayam Lokosti Naparo Nasukham Sansayatmanaha. The man without wisdom, dedication and hesitation is bound to be doomed. The man of doubts will not get happiness in both the worlds. The wisdomless man, bound by sense pleasures, is an utterly useless character. Such a man can never aspire for pure wisdom, which is most virtuous. Instead of inaction, action is better. Instead of not doing any karma, not doing any work, doing some work is better. Doing physical karma will lead to exercise of mind, and that in turn will lead to spirituality at a later date gradually. The inactive man is like a paralysis patient. The rotating light in a lighthouse will show the path to the ships to a ocean. When the captain of the ship sees darkness, he will entertain doubts about his approaching port city. Likewise, the depender of senses and sense objects will be always entertaining doubt of his intelligence. So, the intuition gained with sadhana is superior and the most dependable one. As such, the man should not have any doubt on his progress of sadhana, because that will not give him happiness in this world or in the heaven. Yoga sanyasta karmanam gnana sanchinna sansayam atmavantam na karmani nibhadnanti dhananjaya. Hey Arjun, who dedicates all his karma to Parabrahman, who relinquishes all the results of karma, who gives up all his doubts with a pure wisdom and anchored to Brahma, shall not be bound by karma. Tasmad ajnana sambhutam hrusam gnanasinatmanaha Chitvainam sansayam yogamatishtotishtha bharata. Hey Arjun, slash the doubt that has arisen due to the ignorance and settled in your heart. O Arjun, slash the doubt that has arisen due to ignorance and settled in your heart with the sword of wisdom and follow Nishkama Karma Yoga. Get up. Om Tat Sat Iti Sri Bhagavatgita Supanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastri Sri Krishnarjuna Samvade Jnana Yogo Nama Chaturdho Jyayaha.